Welcome to another video update of the LEGO Hogwarts Castle. I have plenty to show you today, so let's get to it. As you can tell from the title, today we'll be looking at the kitchens and everything that I have done in that portion of the castle. Thinking about it, it has been probably around 10 months since we've actually been to the kitchens of the castle. Initially, I had done only a little platform with vague walls and a little rough schematics inside, and since then I've really not touched the kitchens. But now, since the castle has been rebuilt and it's bigger, we can actually focus on the interior there. Naturally, increasing the size of the castle means increasing the size of the kitchens. But there is one little but here, and it's something that I was really unsure what I should use, and there's still time to change it, but perhaps you can tell me what you think. What do I mean by that? Now, the castle is bigger, which means the section for the kitchen drawer is bigger too, and the weight of everything is kind of a lot, as you can imagine. So the supports that I have done are not only from here to here, as you can see from my initial video where I show the supports, but there are also these pillars in the middle. And these pillars mean that the drawer itself has a problem because these pillars are in the way. And if you remember from one of the very early videos when I was doing a first draft of the other tray over here on the other side, on the front of the castle, I had the whole tray separated into 3 blocks that were connected in the front part, but in the back parts they weren't. So you could slide them in, and the pillars that were supporting were going kind of inside of the drawer. But I didn't really like that because that means that the rear sections are not connected in any way, which means that when you try to slide the tray in, it's difficult, and the whole construction is flaky because there are obviously some interior details inside which increase the weight additionally. So I didn't really want to do that here. But at one point I had a different idea, and what do I mean by that? What if we separate the trays into 2? So we have half of the kitchen tray here and half of the kitchen tray over here. Okay, I have removed the central section, which I will show you later, but it also needs to be removed for these sections to come apart because I can't really have anywhere to grip them. And also I have taken them out a little bit because I can't really do it with 2 hands while I'm filming. Now, once you remove the central section, this part here, there is a little gap here that I've left. And if you grip here with one hand and here with the other hand, it's very easy to pull out. And same with this side. And here, the cover that we have that is removable in order to open the wings of the back side of the building. We can touch the tray from this side. So if we touch it from both sides, we can pull this one easily. Now I will pull them all the way out with one hand and see what I mean. So here is one side, and it's half of the kitchens. And this side here, when we pull it out, is the other half. And then I've done it in such a way that they obviously make one complete picture. There it is. And for the sake of things being all tidy, over here, see, there is this garbage can. Take out the garbage can. Oh, there is something inside. Put it back in. And we use these 2 pins. As you can imagine, there are some spaces over here. One here. And one over here. And then we snap it together. And there it is. And that solves the issue with these pillars. That way we can have very nice support. Everything here is pretty heavy, so this platform will is not strained at all. The strain on the pieces is minimal. We have these Technic pieces going from this side to this side, and these additional pillars, 2 here, another 2 in the back, to support everything above. Okay, let's talk about the kitchens themselves. Now, first let's talk about what is already present. I have tried to keep a little bit of the design from before, but I have removed some other things that were present in the previous draft because some of them didn't make sense, and some others there just wasn't space for them. The tables are again 4, as they should be, in this same order as they should be above and as they are. However, I have not really kept the same proportions of the tables, or obviously, since these pieces are kind of using our imagination and they are positioned separately, they can't really be exactly identical to the tables above and being exactly the same size. So that kind of gave me the freedom to make them kind of smaller and shorter, so we have more space for the things. But the idea is there. When this whole piece is connected, we have the 4 tables and we have them in the same order as they are above in the Great Hall. And since the central portion again is occupied by those tables, we have the side of the build to use for other things. Again, I use the same platforms as before because again it made sense for the floor to be like this, because the house elves are spilling all sorts of things while cooking and while preparing the meals, and it makes sense that the whatever is spilled goes into these holes and some kind of a I don't know, some in down the tubes, I guess. I have tried my best to place a lot of variety here, place different foods where just to represent that there's a lot of stuff that the house elves are using to cook, as well as placing a lot of also the glasses and cups, some kind of I'm not really sure if these bottles here fit. I mean, I wanted some bottles to be present on shelves, but they kind of look more like potions. Maybe there's kind of different beverages, but I might remove them and place something else. I just didn't want this row to be with only cups, and I don't know. And then on the other side we have some cooking pots, so one giant one over here, and some more shelves up here that are currently empty, and a few other ones over here, smaller ones with fires. Now, I had a couple of ideas while building this, and also I used a few references from the old Harry Potter games, as well as the Harry Potter mobile game, which I don't know what it's called. I'm not playing it. I mean, it's I just used some visual pictures for inspiration, basically. Maybe you see that the table legs are different colors because I'm not really sure which colors I want to use here. So I made each table with different legs just to look at it a little bit like I usually do and decide which one fits best. I also have this strange notion just to mix all the colors in all different tables, so each table has 3-4 colors mixed into it. That's one option, I guess. This little oven that I made, I'm really kind of happy with it. You can pull this thing out, but I can't for some reason because my fingers are too big. There we go. this was a bigger struggle than it should be. Yeah, with some cookies inside that are baking, you can slide it back in. I just really placed various elements that really make sense. I wanted this big kind of bowl to be in the middle. I'm not really sure if there should be carrots and bread in there, but and also have this little area here where the house elves are preparing various foods, and this section here should represent a little kind of reminder board of what they should be doing, because I imagine when we populate this with minifigs it would actually be a big mess and the house elves will be scurrying around and bumping into one another. And yeah, I have worked in a restaurant kitchen when I was a teenager, I remember, and let me tell you, it's a disaster and it's always a big mess behind the scenes. So this is where they write down what they should be doing, what they should be cooking today and whatever, and just use it as a little guide. I have a few stickers that might actually play the role of that thing, but haven't really decided which one to use or whether I should just maybe make a custom sticker, or anyway, I just left it as it is right now. Here we have some fish, some other things, and yeah, I mean, I like the variety. It obviously isn't really complete because, well, there are no house elves. And the main reason for that is that, well, I don't really have all that many house elves. I would really want to place between 15, maybe up to 20, 12 to 20 house elves in the kitchens. But I don't have that many. Plus, I'm not really sure whether I should invest into those minifigs right now, because the new house elves, we only have Adobe, which has been in a very few sets, so it's kind of expensive to buy like 20 or 15 Dobbies. There is also the matter of whether I want all my house elves to look like Dobby. The other option would be to buy the old minifigs from the older Harry Potter sets, where there is basically these faceless house elves that I don't really like. Part of me kind of wants to wait for a new set where we have a new house elf mode minifig, which would probably be cheaper and more fitting for this. However, I don't really see that happening in the next year or two. So it's a predicament, and out of everything, it kind of makes the most sense just to buy any house elves and maybe even mix the Dobbies with from the newer sets with the older faceless house elves, and kind of just make a big mess and just try to spend as little money as possible in some bargains and gradually collect them. So maybe I'll end up doing that. But what I'm trying to say is, due to these reasons, the kitchens probably will not be populated properly in the near future. Now, the other thing that I have not done, and you're probably noticing, is that the tables have nothing on them. And that is on purpose, because I kind of decided I want to place all the cups and food upstairs first in the Grey Hall. And once I've done that and really positioned and made the scenes over there with the minifigs included, I want to be satisfied with that, and then I will focus on this, because I'm not really sure. I don't want the upstairs and the downstairs to be the same with just various foods. I mean, it makes sense actually for them to be kind of the same or similar, but I would want to place, obviously there will be food upstairs on the tables, well, because there'll be students having dinner or breakfast or whatever and talking and whatever. But here we can actually tell different stories with maybe house elves using some of the tables to prepare various foods maybe, or maybe even they're in the process of putting the tables, preparing them for a feast or something. Then it would ask the question, maybe are they just placing the plates and the cups and there is no food yet, or is there food already? So yeah, I'm not really decided what I want to do. So when I'm not sure really, and if it would take a lot of time to do one of the options, I would rather invest my time, which is very scarce of late, in something else. So that's why I've decided to leave the tables blank and empty for now. But yeah, this whole thing is not really, I mean, obviously it is bigger, maybe by a third compared to the old one, even though we don't use the full section here. Obviously the middle one is not used, but I really like what it turned out and the way that I'm connecting the two pieces. And part of me was scared that I would have difficulties to make two separate halves of this whole picture and not have any walls in the middle, and connecting them wouldn't make any sense. But thankfully I managed to kind of make so the tables just split right in the middle and there are no walls here, and everything else is sturdy enough. Really try to make the other three sides where there actually are walls it's very sturdy, and so when you pick this up it kind of really doesn't fall into your hands. Also, one of the big problems when I began was because we didn't have any flooring and we didn't have walls everywhere on all four sides. That meant the floor would be kind of weird to stick together. So what I did, instead of using the upper portion of the plates to strengthen them, I used a whole row underneath running over here where you can't see it. So basically we have a double floor, so these pieces here stay in place until they don't fall apart. But yeah, I think I'm pretty pleased with the way it is. It's really satisfying to be done with the kitchens. I mean, they're not done, you know, but as you can see, a big portion of the work is complete, and from here on out we can only improve by probably just putting more foods, more variety, and maybe some other elements. I kind of wanted to place some more cupboards, like some kind of shelves maybe, but again, the space isn't all that much. And the space we can use maybe is over here and over here. All the other walls are kind of already occupied. And these shelves here, I'm experimenting. I wanted to, obviously I can put something here, but it will not be, there are no studs to place it, which means every time I take this in and out, everything will be falling apart. Not really a fan of that, but for the time being, I don't want these to be kind of empty walls. So I placed some shelves, but in the future I might take them out and place different kind of shelves so I can place something there, even if it's a element or two. We'll see. And yeah, not really sure if these two braziers here make any sense, but maybe we can take them out and place something else. There is like 4 studs here and 2-3 studs over here that we can use for something else. But overall, it kind of aesthetically it looks nice, I think. And again, there are no minifigs, but hopefully in the near future, although near future is a term that is quite well, yeah, unclear at this point. Anyway, we've placed everything back together, so now we can talk about the middle section. Naturally, by using these ideas of splitting the kitchens into 2 while they're placed inside the castle, means this gap here in the middle, well, initially I didn't plan to use it for anything because it's kind of small. I believe it's 6 studs wide. I mean, over here the outer side is longer, but the inside, because there are pillars over here and here, is only 6. It is, however, pretty long, so it was quite limited as to what I could make, and I was scrolling down the list of possible Easter eggs that I want to make. And initially, when I was planning to sit down and build, I didn't really want to even think about putting an Easter egg in here because I thought that I didn't really have any of the pieces necessary for anything that I wanted to build, nor the time. So what I ended up doing though was doing something completely different that was not in the list. But yeah, I was looking through my inventory and I was just it occurred to me to recreate this scene from one of the, well, I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite books that I've read, but it's something very interesting to me. When I was a teenager, I read a lot of books by Alexander Dumas. For those that don't know him, he is the author of the Three Musketeers and various other books that are connected to one another in one way or another. So anyway, one of the books he wrote was The Man with the Iron Mask. It's a kind of interesting story, as all Dumas books are. It's about the King of France who is he's expecting his heir to be born, but his wife gives birth to twins, but nobody knows, and he decides to keep one of the twins and raise him as his son and heir officially, and the other one is sent away to live with strangers without knowing his heritage. And after 20 years or so, when one of the kids is now king, there is a conspiracy. They find his twin brother. They imprison the original king, who is, by the way, a tyrant, and his twin brother, who is a very nice guy because he just was living in a farm and without a care in the world, and he's not spoiled, becomes king, and he's being manipulated by various people in court. But in the end, he decides to go into exile. The original king becomes king again, and they put this iron mask on his face because nobody must see that he looks like the king. So even his jailers must not know who he is. And that whole thing got inspired by this weird piece over here. I don't know where this is from, but when I saw it, it really resonated with me. And I've seen, and I mean, obviously I've read the book, and I've seen various ekranizations of this story, both in animation and in live action, I believe. There is a film in the 90s with Leonardo DiCaprio and many other various famous actors. You could check it out. It's not a bad movie. It's not something amazing, but it was a big deal when it came out. And especially this piece, it reminded me really of the animation that I saw when I was a child, and I really had forgotten about it. But I was building and really thinking about the kitchens themselves. It kind of went through my hands, and just I thought, well, actually, it would make sense for this to exist, and this little corridor gap here might actually be enough to make this little jail cell. Now, the jail cell is not necessarily complete. I have placed the floors, and there isn't anything, but like, it's a jail cell. There shouldn't be all that much detail, but I really focus on this bed over here. Obviously, there is a bucket because we are living it's a story from medieval times. Just a little table with with letters, because I remember in the story he was still writing to his mother. He was allowed to do that, I believe. A few candles and a cup. I also was planning to place a bowl of food somewhere, but the bowls are kind of very large, and they look kind of awkward in this narrow 4-stud wide corridor. Kind of takes maybe 3/4 of the space, and I just didn't want to place it for the time being. But yeah, I really wasn't expecting to place this Easter egg here. I've also placed some kind of gaps in the walls just to make it a little kind of customized. Again, I didn't place any roof because it would make it difficult to film, and it didn't really make sense. This is inside the castle, so if you want to find it and show it to people, you really want to be able to kind of display it, so it really wasn't necessary to place any kind of a roof. One of the things I was struggling with was when I'm making any kind of idea, I always have kind of a starter piece, because in Lego, if I want to make something that is not made in Lego itself, I kind of want to have something to cling on. So in this case, it was the mask itself and this door, this jail cell door that I have bought for a while, that I always wanted to make I want to make a jail somewhere in the castle. But this door is kind of tall, as you can see. It's what is this, 5 bricks tall, which is all fine and dandy, but the inside, the support, kind of prevents this from going in. So initially I had the door over here, but that meant that I couldn't really put the tray all the way in. So that kind of disappointed me, and I was half ready to give up. But then I decided, well, I'll just put it over here in the front, make the whole jail cell one big thing, because I wanted the jail cell to be even smaller, like up to here, and then to have like guards over here maybe, and some windows. But that was scrapped. I put the door here, which means that it is before we reach the supports over here. And I didn't want this to be kind of like this. I wanted this to be covered. But then I just decided, well, we're gonna have the cover removable, so I placed these things over here. So that way we can have it easily placed inside, so we can remove it with this little hole here, and if we want to show something after we take it out, we just remove it. Now part of me kind of questions whether these covers should really be here, because all this will not be removable. We're gonna have a cover with rocks, just like with this side here, something customized. And as you can see, the old kitchens, I took them apart while building the new ones, but I left these rock patterns here that I've already built. They were over here, but obviously now they'll have to be a bit longer and different, so I'll have to rebuild them. But I didn't want to just send them into my storage, because I have to use them anyway. But again, we're gonna have something that kind of goes like this. So that probably will be what I'll be showing you next time. Everything here will be covered, and over here we'll have kind of other patterns. Now, probably I will split them in 2 or 3 sections. So we'll have like a cover here, another one here, another one here. I don't want everything to be one big piece, because it kind of makes it difficult to remove, or they fall apart. I want like things to be tidy, easily removable, easily placed back in. And this is how the castle looks right now. I would really have preferred to do the rock pattern for this video, so it was going to look better, but I simply did not have the time. So I'll be doing that next time, and additionally I will be rebuilding the base here for the grand staircase, and just might be putting the candle patterns inside. which will be very exciting to do. Overall, the castle is progressing nicely, and we're kind of completing every single thing in the Great Hall. We're nearing the 1-year anniversary of this channel, and I'm not really sure what kind of goals I placed myself and put for myself when I was making the channel, both population-wise and what I should be building. But this whole project just turns out to be a lot more massive and complicated and time-consuming than I originally thought. So that's both a good thing and a bad thing. All I'm trying to say is that, well, maybe ideally I would have preferred to have begun the grand staircase by now, but there's just so much fine-tuning and detailing that needs to be put in, and also the whole rebuild process really kind of complicated things even further. But I'm not disappointed, I'm actually quite happy. But yeah, the things that are in the future I will repeat again, for as I do every time: populating the Great Hall inside, placing the candles, placing the rock pattern over here, rebuilding the base of the grand staircase, and probably the whole, not only the base over here, but the big base of the circle. We have to be doing that. And other than that, I don't really know what the future holds. As you can see, I always have a predetermined way of building and what I should be doing, but as I start doing something, my mind and my imagination and my desire to do things always kind of strays me somewhere in some directions, and sometimes I go that rabbit hole really deep. Sometimes I kind of keep myself disciplined and don't really go down there. But as I say, it's a complicated process, and it's fun, and at the same time it could be very frustrating. Once again, I would like to thank you all for taking on this journey with me, and I hope that whatever I'm showing you and whatever I'm telling you is useful for you, somewhat fun, that you can use for your own builds, or just to watch something while you're having lunch. Oh yeah, also these windows, I've not placed them yet, but maybe we end up changing the windows altogether, but I'll tell you more about that when or if I get to that. Again, it's very nice if you like, share, and subscribe if that's something that you would like to do. If not, it's okay. Thank you again for watching. Thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye for now.